Echo did a really good job this week. We worked on our heel, our sit, and I'm actually about to teach him place while I record. It's just that easy. So pretty simple stuff this week. Couple things to keep in mind, and we'll have a little card reiterating this in a second. All his calories are going to come from training. If he has some food left over for the day, or you feel like he didn't get enough, and I know he has that salmon oil supplement, no, sit. You can give him a small meal in the evening, but we do want most of his food to come from training. He needs to either be in the kennel or on the leash with you, like he is right now, doing something productive, whether that's place, heel, or sit. And if you have any questions for that, you are welcome to text me. I'm pretty available all weekend, so if you have a problem, absolutely let me know. I'm more than happy to help you out. Good boy. So let's start some training. So we're going to start with place, because it's new. Free. So all I'm going to do is go up to my place bed. I can lure him up, which just means having him follow the food. Usually that first step on there is the hardest. Come on, buddy. Good boy. Say, what is that? Come on, puppy. Oh, good boy. Good. And when he gets up there with all 4 feet, click or say good, and then reward him on the bed. Free. So we're not super worried about doing anything fancy right now. Just getting him on the bed and rewarding him there. Free. Puppy. Come on, puppy. You got it. Come on. Good job. Free. Good. And he's a smart guy, so he catches on pretty quick. Free. Ideally, we want to do everything from the heel position. Everything good happens on my left side. So I do want to try to be in the next to the bed in the heel position, which we call our neutral position. If he gets up here on his own, I will reward him, but I don't think he's going to. Puppy. So ideally, once he's getting on the bed very well, we can start doing it from this heel position. Come, puppy. Good. Free. Puppy. So all that's going to look like is lead the dog on the bed. Come, puppy. Come, puppy. Get back to my neutral position, mark, and put one piece of kibble right at the front of my bed. Free. When I say free, I am going to wait a second and step off with my left foot. That's going to be important in a second when we start adding in some little more complicated things. Good. Free. So I'm going to do this about 1,000,000 times until he is really excited to be getting up on the bed. Right now, he's still not 100% sure what he's doing. We want to get to that fluency stage. So we'll talk about the levels of learning in a second here. I'll probably throw them up on your screen. But we want to get to that fluency level before we start naming the command. Come, puppy. Good job. Because Echo's a really smart dog, he does tend to try and figure out why we want to give him the treat, which is the whole reason we use the marker. The marker essentially snapshots their brain. We have it conditioned now to where he hears this and he knows he wants food. So I like to use a little bit of free shaping with Echo, which means I just kind of let him decide what he wants to do and I reward him when it's something I like. He's so smart that kind of makes his brain extra happy to figure it out. And that's the glory of using the clicker, is I can really precisely pinpoint what I want to tell him is good. So he's starting to kind of get up on the bed on his own, free, because he knows that it's a pretty good place to be. Where are you going? So now's the point where I can kind of start adding in my word, and I'm going to use the word place. Free, puppy, place. Good. I'm going to start increasing the difficulty just a little bit. So I'm going to start incorporating my 3 Ds. So that's distance, distraction, and duration. No. And this is where we can add in our corrections a little bit. That's going to really clearly tell him no when it's something I don't want him to be doing, like stepping off the bed. That's the nice thing about these elevated place beds, is there's a pretty big difference between this and the floor. So I'm going to start by adding in my duration. That just means time. All I'm going to do is stand here in my nice neutral position, place, place, place. Doing that's going to make him want to stay up there longer. The longer he stays up there, the more food he gets. Pretty good situation. Place. And you can see I'm trying to stay really neutral. I'm not even looking at him. Place. Place. So just like our clicker is important to tell him what we do want, saying no is important to tell him what we don't want. So when he steps off the bed, I'm going to mark it by saying no, give him a light leash pop, and then direct him back to the bed. So now I'm going to start adding in a little bit of distance. We don't get very far at first, but you can build up distance from our goal of 6 feet for this basic obedience program all the way to as far as you really want. So in my nice neutral position, I'm going to say place, step right in front of the bed with my right foot, return to my neutral position, and reward him. So we know that the left foot means free, let's go. The right foot is going to mean stay, and that's going to go for the place bed, the sit, and the down eventually. Place. 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 So he's doing pretty good with that one foot. Anytime he's going to consistently mess up, that's where I want to move back a step. Good. And you can see there he was thinking about getting off. He chose not to, so I definitely want to reward that. All right, so I'm going to add a little bit more distance in. Place. Step directly in front, French fry feet, back to my neutral position, and reward him. Place. Place. And the reason we're doing it so like robotically right now and very accurate is because the more accurate I train it from the beginning, the better and more sloppy we can be later on, because he has a really clear understanding. Now, place. And that's why corrections are important as well. We want him to have a really clear understanding of yes and no with no gray area. Place. Place. No. Place. 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 Free. Buoy. So I put away my place bed so that we can work on heel and sit. Place bed is pretty distracting when we've built so much reward history on it, so it's probably better just to put it away when I'm trying to work on other things. So we'll start with the heel, because the sit is just going to end up being a stationary portion of the heel. And he likes to gravitate to my right side, so I'm just going to keep spinning until he hits my left side. So I'm going to be really entertaining. And try not to let him get too tangled. Good. And the heel position just means the dog is at my left leg and not in front of me. I like to train in a little bit of a circle with him on the inside. It kind of helps keep him behind me and helps work on his little self-control a little bit. But I'm going to reward him as much as I possibly can, and I'm also not going to let him eat off of the floor. Puppy. Nope. So you saw there, he got in front of me. I just stopped, said no, and turned around. No. And my leash is really nice and loose, so if he does get in front of me, when I turn around, the leash kind of does its own correction. No. And I'm just going to pull his head up if he's eating here. No. Puppy. Good. Puppy. And he's been doing pretty well with the heel, so I'm going to go ahead and add the word in. Right before I'm going to mark to reward him, I'm going to say heel, and then reward. Heel, 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 no, heel, heel. So now we're going to talk about the sit a little bit. So we teach the sit using leash pressure because if you do not have treats, you want to be able to get the dog into a sit. So we don't really like to do a whole lot of luring with the sit. So I can lure my dog to make sure they're straight, however. So I'll probably just lure him a little bit to get him nice and straight. When he is straight, I'm going to say sit and pull straight up on the leash. When his butt hits the floor, leash pressure goes away, I mark, and I reward him. And when I practice sit, I want to try to do as little bit of steps in between as I can. So I probably will look like this. Free, sit, and you can see I drop my hand in between my sit reps to make sure he stays straight. Now, sit. We want to try to free him as quickly as possible in between the sit reps. We're kind of just starting sit stay. As you can see, it's not super strong. So we don't really want to be worried about that too much this weekend. So just free him in between each rep. Free. Free. Sit. Good. Is that a chewy piece? Free. Sit. Free. Sit. Free. Sit. Occasionally, I like to do a big reward. So then I will double click and run away from him. That kind of makes it a little bit more fun and interesting. If you've ever known someone who gambles, the whole fun part of gambling is sometimes you get that really big payout. So he can do all the monotonous heel, sit, down, whatever, and then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, that was super rewarding. Are you super rewarded? Now with the jumping, because I know he is a little bit of a jumping guy, My rule is no feet on me. So if he does try to jump on me, I'll either pull him away with the leash, manage him with the leash, or ask him to sit. We do want to maintain that sit at the side for right now. We want everything good to come from the left side. So the whole reason we say sit and then apply leash pressure is we teach the dog to avoid that leash pressure and how to turn it off. So he knows that when his butt hits the ground, the leash pressure is going to go away. It's not turning back on unless he stands up inappropriately. Um, so we cue that word because he knows the pressure is coming without a doubt. And he's like, I would rather it not turn on. So I'm going to avoid that pressure by going ahead and taking a seat when I hear that word come out. Good boy.